I'm Matt Felderman. I'm the project manager for the Ultimate Overland build.
And I'm Nick Summers with Peak Suspension. We're the official build partner for the Ultimate Overland build.
This year, we were fortunate enough to partner with GMC, and they provided us with a Canyon AT4X. And as far as mid-size trucks go, this is a phenomenal platform for overlanding. One of the things that we like the best about it is it has so much content directly from the factory. So really our focus was to take that platform and enhance it. In the front of the truck, it was really important for us to maintain the GMC Canyon's signature look. So we wanted to find a front bumper that could house a winch and also provide us with additional lighting off-road. But we also didn't want to detract from the aesthetic of the Canyon's front end. So we partnered with 589 Fabrication for their Mini Fighter front bumper. And the cool thing about this bumper is it integrates within the front bumper of the truck. So it's an inner bumper within the outer factory bumper. We used a come up 9.5 solo winch. It's a 9,500 pound capacity, and Come Up's just a great brand. They have a history working with GM on the factory winches available, through GM accessories. So it was a natural fit for this build. On this winch, you'll notice we have an upgraded synthetic winch line from MaxTrax. This winch line is lighter than a steel cable, and it also integrates nicely with the Come Up winch hook. Another great advantage of the 589 Fabrication front bumper is its ability to house 4 off-road driving lights. In this case, we went with 4 Vision X CG2 lights, all in an amber beam. And they're great out here in the silt, in the fog, any inclement weather. It really helps cut through. GMC Canyon comes with an awesome 2.7 liter turbocharged engine. And we really wanted to protect that, especially when driving through areas like the Southwest where it's super dusty. So we added an AEV snorkel, which is brand new and made specifically for the Canyon platform. When it came to wheels and tires, we went with an awesome set of 17x8 torque wheels and 35 by 12.5 BF Goodrich all-terrain KO2s. This tire is a personal favorite of mine, and their heritage in this industry is legendary. To help provide a little extra clearance for the 35-inch tires, we added a set of AEV fender flares. Now these are the same fender flares that come on the Canyon AT4X AEV edition. They give you a little extra sheet metal clearance, and they're also a little wider. And they retain the factory marker lights. So it looks factory, but it's a little different for this truck.
So one thing the Canyon comes with is the Multimatic DSSV shocks, and that's one thing we want to be able to retain. It's a great shock, it has great dampening force, but we wanted to be able to get a little more lift for a bigger tire, for a bigger ground clearance. So we did our Peak Pro Lift Kit, which adds 2 inches to the front. In the back, we also added our 2-inch lift block and an add lift to accommodate for the weight, so we don't destroy the payload capacity this truck has, because we did add a lot of equipment to this thing. So we want to make sure that we have the proper ride quality, it still drives like it's supposed to, and still has that full retention of the suspension. So one of the features that these trucks come with is a front and rear locker. Front locker vehicles on an IFS suspension kind of require different driving skills. When you're in a 4-low and the front's locked, you want to be able to make sure that you're not putting too much stress on the steering components. So we add our tie rod reinforcement sleeves to just give you a little more confidence on the trail, so you're not snapping tie rods and creating a really long day on the trail. So in addition to all the suspension components that we added, we also wanted to make sure that we're maintaining suspension geometry. So we added a 1-inch diff drop on this, because as you lift the vehicle, you want to make sure that your differentials are still back in the normal place they're supposed to be. Too much CV bind or axle bind can cause issues on the trail. You can blow CV boots, you can bind the axles. We want to avoid all those things by doing these components. The other thing we want to do is also make sure the sway bar is maintaining its integrity the way it's supposed to be doing. So we added a sway bar drop to basically put it back down to the factory location. And all those things encompass the proper suspension geometry and allows this truck to drive the way it's supposed to.
Since this is an overland build, we had to address where you're going to sleep. Trucks are a little tricky to work with. They have an open bed, and you want to be careful not to use up all the room that you have in there to put cargo. So we decided to go with a Leitner Designs forged bed rack system. Now, this bed rack system's gorgeous from an aesthetic standpoint, but it's also very functional. There's a ton of accessories that you can get for it. We decided to go with 2 storage boxes We have their full-length storage box on the passenger side of the vehicle, their shorter storage box on the driver's side, in addition to their shower system, which is great for filling up dog bowls, washing your hands, dishes, or even yourself. For our tent, we went with an AluCab 3R Expedition tent. This thing is gorgeous. It's extremely well made, very robust, very easy to use, but best of all, they have a complete catalog of accessories for it. So not only did we get the tent, we went with their 270 awning and their shower cube. And all this integrated really nice with the tent, and it gives you a really functional camping area. You have your tent to sleep in, you have your awning to hang out under, and if you need to wash off, you have your shower cube. Another great feature about the Lightner Designs rack is the ability to mount lights to it. You can mount lights on the side, you can mount lights in the back. So we chose to mount 2 additional Vision X lights back here to light up, the area behind the truck. Whether you're cooking or making repairs to something or just want some light in your campsite, you can kick these lights on and have your camp area lit up. Another great accessory that Lightner Designs provides is their MaxTrax mount. This mounts really clean on the back side of one of the storage boxes, and it gives us easy storage that's also easily accessible.
So when it came to power storage, we wanted to do something creative. That's something that doesn't necessarily always happen. We wanted everything to be a self-contained unit. So we went with the 2 Battle-Born lithium-ion batteries. All this is maintained and charged by either the car battery through the RedArc manager and the RedArc Red Vision screen. So one thing that's really cool is that as you drive the vehicle or key on the vehicle, it automatically starts adding power from the vehicle. As soon as you key off, it goes right to the solar. And so that'll always constantly be charging. We wanted everything to be in one place, so we added a 120 volt inverter from Battle-Born as well. So we ran that to a power strip so you can have different plugs, different accessories, the USB ports. Also, we did the quad lock mount so you can set up a phone, set up a tablet, whatever you wanted to have in this section. But it's really awesome to have everything mounted in the Lightner box. And we know that, with heat, there could be any kind of melting or plastic stuff. So we added some ports in the back where we ventilate the entire system. So as you're driving, it can cool it. It also has airflow to go through from the internal fans on this component. So we're really stoked with how this came out. It's a very well integrated system and it works awesome. In addition to running all those components, we have a RedArc 200 watt solar panel mounted to the rooftop tent, and that's directly charging the batteries. Anytime you're at camp, you can always ensure that if you have some kind of sun, you're gonna be charging those batteries, so you're always gonna be ready to go.
So any truck that's gonna be driven off-road, you need a full-size spare. And being a mid-sized truck, finding a home for a 35-inch spare is not exactly easy. So we were fortunate to partner with Rigged, who makes an awesome hitch-mounted ultra swing tire carrier. And it securely mounts our 35-inch tire, no problem. And additionally, it has a fold-down table behind the tire that we can use to cook on, and it will accept their Rambler rack, which holds a bike. Now this truck is a 4-cylinder, so we wanted to add an exhaust system that would obviously improve ground clearance for the tailpipe, but also increase efficiency, but we didn't want to be overwhelmed with sound. Fortunately, MagnaFlow and their no drone technology is awesome. You hear the truck when you're on the gas, but when you're not, it's nice and quiet. This happens to be the same OEM rear bumper that's on the Canyon AT4X AEV edition. So everything fits exactly the way it should. All the sensors, all the technology, the driving features, everything works the way it should. And it provides the added protection that we need. Maximizing protection on this truck was key. An adventure can really go sideways if you start breaking things. So we wanted to protect the underside of this truck, but we are also very mindful of the effect that adding skid plates can have to things like cooling and also crash safety. So again, we added AEV skid plates to protect the IFS, the transfer case, the fuel tank, and the rear differential. These are all hot stamped boron steel, so they're super light, but also extremely strong. And again, these are the same OEM validated skid plates that come on the Canyon AT4X AEV edition. So we had no concerns with cooling or fitment. It was literally putting on a factory part.
So on this truck, storage is obviously an issue, and we want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. Deck just released their newest version of their deck system, which is a nice drawer system. Some of the new changes you see is, as you pull out, it's a single drawer versus the 2 drawers they had before. There's a new gasket that's built into this, so it has dust intrusion and waterproofing. The drawer is quite big, as you can see, and it has a lot of stability to it. It's all built on steel frame. The other cool thing that you'll notice on the previous generations, this section was closed. Now these ammo can accesses are open, so you can reach through to access components you can stuff inside. You can put chairs in there, other equipment. It's just a way more thought out design than the previous generation. So we're stoked to add to this truck.
As well as the Forest Tool Max multi-purpose toolkit, which is always good to have on hand for any emergency you may encounter on the road or on the trail.
Anyone that travels off the grid knows that, when you're without cell signal, it can be sketchy. You can't get a hold of people that you need. If you're trying to do a little bit of work, it's very difficult. So we address that on 2 fronts. One, we got the latest WeBoost cell signal booster. In addition to the WeBoost, we also have a Zoleo global satellite communicator. So in the event of a really bad emergency, you can always reach out and get help fast.
So now that we're in the vehicle, we can show you some of the things that we did inside to enhance driving abilities, communications. One of those things is the quad lock system. It's a phone mount, it's an accessory mount, you can do tablets. They're really versatile as long as you have the quad lock on whatever device you want to use. It can go in any location. So when you're on the trails, oftentimes you're not alone. You want to be able to communicate with your group about navigating through obstacles, any cross traffic, any obstructions you might run across. So we use the Midland GMRS MXT 575. This is their newest radio, high watt output. Also has everything on the microphone, which is great. So you can access all your functions, your channels, volume, all on your fingertips. The radio is mounted remotely here in the center console. Everything is also accessible for you don't lose any storage, but all of your hand controls are here so it can stay hidden and remote and be within your access as you're driving. As you might have noticed, we have a lot of accessories on this vehicle, from lighting to communications, all around the vehicle. We need to be able to control that with the Switch Pros 9100. So we have this unit we mounted here. All of your functions are within reach. It's a lighted system, so you can see it as you're driving and be able to do easy, quick presses. There's a really cool system. You can also change different functions from dimming to strobes on your apps, and those functions can translate onto the controller as here.
Another addition to the interior is a set of front and rear molded Husky liners. These do a great job keeping water and mud off the carpet and keeping the interior nice and clean. The driver's side of our Leighton rack, we have their shorter storage box. And in this box, it was a really great place to house things like our MaxTrax recovery gear, our AEROnaut bedding, and Jetboil's latest Genesis base camp system and their silicone coffee press. These are 2 things that I can't really live without when I'm camping. I need my coffee, and Jetboil makes some amazing products.
So in addition to the onboard power, we want to also have a portable power station. Now, this thing is actually pretty awesome. This is the Bluetti AC200L. This is a 240 watt output. One of the cool things is that this has that a lot of other ones don't. It has an RV plug, so you can literally plug in generators, plug in your RV to this thing and use this almost as a generator. You have 4 AC outputs, you have all USB outputs, and also your DC ports as well. And everything at your fingertips, everything here you can translate to the screen to see your output levels, where your charging station is at, and what's currently being used. So in addition to other accessories around the camp, one of the cool things we have is the Blizzard box from Project X. We can take this thing around with us, use the Bluetti to charge it, so we can move our fridge out of the truck, go to the campsite, have our drinks with us, and be able to use these anywhere. To make use of our rigged camp table, we're using the Blackstone dual griddle. This is cool because it has a gas burner and also your griddle surface, so you can kind of have both things at once. So you can do a pot, do it like a boiled thing or cook water or whatever. Then you also have the griddle surface, so you can do your flat stuff. It's pretty awesome to have both, and everything's self-contained, so everything closes back up. You put it back in the deck box, and it's good to go.
Anyone in the Overland community knows that when we start building our vehicles and really get into it, the receipts start adding up fast. And before you know it, you have a ton of money that's sunk into your rig. Insurance is great, but it only covers so much. So we were fortunate to have Treader come on board as a partner to help cover all the stuff that we added on this vehicle. In the event that something should happen, we won't be out, all the cool stuff that we put on it.